Hi, I'm Nicole of NA Makeup. Today I'm here collaborating with Runway Room to give you my peach look using the Peach Punch Blush. I'm going to show you how I use it today. It's great for professionals. I love the size. I'm going to double it as an eyeshadow and a blush. Really good for a youthful glow, and you can never get too much of it.
I'm starting off by putting on some primer. This is just to prep the skin for the foundation that we're going to put and also help the makeup stay on longer. Starting with the eyes, I'm going to pop down a thin layer of concealer to use as a base for our eyeshadow. This is going to help cancel out any redness and also act as a base for our eyeshadow to stick to. I'm just going to gently pat it out also to make sure there's no creasing. Using a bronzer as our first eyeshadow, I'm going to pop that on the outer corners of the eye, blending it softly through the crease and up toward the brow bone. This is going to create a nice base for our eyeshadows to lay on top of and ensure a smooth blend. Going in with Peach Punch Blush, I'm going to pop that where I put the bronzer, just on the outer corners and softly blending it through the crease. This is just going to add a little bit more peach because I want this to be just a very soft, natural peachy look. With Vino, I'm using that on the outer corner and I'm being a little bit more concentrated with this. I'm putting it through the crease, not too high, and then eventually just blending it all over the lid. Going back in with the bronzer now, just making sure that everything's nice and blended, keeping it really soft. Now I'm smudging some black eye pencil in the lash line. This is going to create a base for my eyeshadow that I'm going to pop over the top. Using a pencil brush, I'm going in with some brown shadow and laying that over the top of the liner that I placed down. I'm keeping it very close to the lash line, going in back and forward motions to softly smoke it out, but yet still keeping definition. Then I'm also just going to quickly go back in with my blending blush, making sure that everything's nice and diffused. Going back to my pencil, I'm going to put that in the upper waterline, helping to create a smoky effect without having a dramatic liner, also being very careful not to poke my client's eye out. Using two lighter reflective pinks, I'm going to pop that in the inner third of the eye just to create a little bit of brightness and a little bit of dimension. Using Power Lash Mascara, I'm going to coat Shay's lashes. Starting at the very base of the lash, I'm going to wiggle it back and forward all the way up through to the tip of the lash, making sure that I'm getting a healthy coat on there. Also not forgetting the tops of the lashes, as we really need this to blend for the corner lashes I'm about to put on. Going in with lashes now, I'm using a half bar. This is going to help keep the look nice and natural, but still giving that uplifted effect that I'm after. I'm making sure that my glue was nice and tacky before I pop it on the eye for an easier application. Now just going in with a wipe, cleaning underneath the eye and pulling the shadow upward towards the temple. Applying some lip prep now. I'm going to do this before I pop on my base products. That way it has time to soak in, and then by the time I get to the lips, they're nice and hydrated and they're fully ready for the lip application. I'm going to go in with some concealer now underneath Shay's eyes, keeping it concentrated in the darkest part. This concealer has a peachy tone to it. It's really going to help correct underneath the eyes. Making sure it's a nice thin layer, I'm also going to use my finger to pat it out and make sure there's no creases. I'm also going to use this to help further clean and further sharpen my eyeshadow look. For foundation, I'm using Face Base in the shade C. Using my flat top kabuki brush, I am pushing the foundation into the skin, making sure it's well blended, especially through the ears and all the way down to the neck. Face Base gives a beautiful natural glow to the skin, but I do want to set it with a little bit of mineral powder, so I'm using my fluffy brush to push that into the skin rather than swirl or swipe to make sure that I'm not lifting up any of the foundation underneath. Just small patting motions. Now moving to bronzing, I'm keeping that on the outer perimeters of the face with a soft back and forth motion on the cheekbone to also create a bit of a soft contour. In a patting motion, I am now applying Peach Punch to the cheeks. I really wanted this to be the main focus of the look. I really wanted a luminous, youthful flush to the cheek, and I think this is perfect for that. Now going in with the illuminating powder, just to add to the tops of the cheekbones for that extra little bit of glow. With the spoolie, I am brushing the eyebrow hairs in an upward motion, preparing them for brow dust. To apply the brow dust, I'm using a small angled brush. I use small, feather-like flicking motions to apply the brow dust to the brow. I'll go back in with the spoolie when I'm finished and brush it through to create a softer look. Using the light shade in the palette, I'm highlighting the inner corner of the eye, just popping a little bit on there with a pencil brush. I'll then go in with the illuminating powder. I'll pop that underneath the eyebrow, and I'll also pop a little bit on the very center of the inner corner of the eye for an extra pop. Back in with my brown eyeshadow, I'm going underneath the eye now to smoke out the outer third of the eye to match the upper, just on the outer corner for that uplifting effect. I'll then add a quick layer of Power Lash to the bottom lashes, focusing it upward and outward again, pushing the hair out to the side rather than straight down. Using a matte nude pencil, I'm popping that on the lip, lining it and also filling it in completely for a nice natural look that I'm going to top off with some gloss. To finish the look, I'm using the Summer Days lip gloss. It has a peach hue to it, and it's going to work perfectly to finish off and complete my peach look.